beautiful. Welcome to today's conversation where we're going to talk about healing memories, coping with the new diagnosis, and medication. Let's talk about it. I'm your host, Shannon Martin, and welcome to today's episode of This Thing Called Wellness. Hello again. I know it's been a while since we last talked, but we're back and refreshed. I didn't expect to be out as long as I have, but I did need to pause. I was in what my son likes to call buffering mode, and I just couldn't get to the next thing. So I decided to rest. I talked about this all the time and didn't listen to my body or my mind. I was feeling very meh and had been feeling this way for a very long time. I am just now opening my 2024 planners for the year, and it's mid-March, y'all, the end of the first quarter. I badly needed a refresh, and I forgot that I was set to go on another women's retreat. I was so bummed out that I almost didn't go. If it weren't for my husband and my hating the hassle of exchanging my plane ticket, I wouldn't have gone. But I went, and I was so glad that I did. It was just what I needed in this time. I felt different. I can't explain it, but it was just different. While I was at the retreat, one of the ladies who knows me oh so well, she said, "Shannon, you look exhausted." And I was. I told her I truly was. I didn't know what was going on with me, but I was just tired all the time. And I said that I was going to my doctors and they're running tests to see what is really going on. I was hoping that it wasn't another depression episode or something else. So far, the doctors aren't seeing anything wrong. No anemia or thyroid issues. So we're just going to keep on. I'm going to take my vitamins and just keep working on my sleep routine. And if anything comes up, I'm just going to keep going back to the doctors until we can find what's making me exhausted. When I came home and began to get back into my day-to-day routines, I was just extremely fatigued. More so than before. And my husband was so concerned. He kept coming into the bedroom to check in on me to see if I was okay. And I was, but I just wanted to sleep. There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Leonard Cohen. It wasn't until I couldn't catch my breath and my legs were so restless that they began to hurt and it began to affect my sleep that we really began to worry. I was telling a friend about what I was experiencing, thinking it was just another bad anxiety episode. Trying to take my medication and do my breathing techniques and using my sleep mask and all the things, but nothing worked. My husband finally said, "I think it's time for you to go to the emergency room." And so was my friend. But y'all, I really didn't want to go. I had my full of the emergency room and hospitals with my mom, and I was simply going to try and fix myself. But on the third night, I couldn't sleep. So I made an appointment with urgent care. And one of the nurses called me and said, "Hey, what's going on with you?" I said that you're having some breathing problems. And I told her what was happening. And she said, well, I think you need to go to the emergency room because there they have, labs and equipment to better handle your situation. This may be more serious than you think. So we're going to advise you to go there. So off I went, got in. They began to take my EKG. Everything was fine. And as I was waiting to get my x-rays and, the doctor came in and she said, "Okay, well, your heart rate is good, but we're concerned about your travel." Okay, well, that was weird. Why are you concerned about my travel? Okay, well, while you wait on the x-ray, we're going to give you an IV. And since you're having, of course, elevated anxiety, we're going to give you something for that to keep you calm while you're waiting for your x-rays, etc. We're going to get an x-ray, we're going to get an ultrasound of your legs. So that made me think, okay, this is more than just anxiety. After a couple hours after all the testing was done, she said, "This is what we thought. You have a blood clot behind your left knee. It's what we call deep vein thrombosis." I was like, what? What is that? And how did I get that? I had so many questions, right? She said, "We believe you got it from your travels on a plane. When you're sitting for hours on a plane and you're bending knee, you can contract a blood clot. Never knew that. Here I was thinking it was just simple, like I had COVID or some type of breathing problem or anxiety, and now you're telling me that I have a blood clot. She said, well, Miss Martin, don't think of it that way because of your breathing issues. If you hadn't come in, we may have been having a different conversation right now. Because if your blood clot had broken off and traveled anywhere else, is what we call embolism, we'd be having a very difficult discussion right now. So be thankful that you came in because of your breathing and because of your legs, that you're here. And so I've been around my mother long enough with all of her heart issues, well enough to know that blood clots, embolisms, they're nothing to play with. But that still didn't bother me until I was prescribed Eliquis, which is a blood thinner to help clear my clot. And then I was told to follow up with hematology and vascular to make sure there aren't any underlying issues. And then it started to hit me, and I began to cry. I was so full of emotions. I was like, Lord, now what? Just when I think I'm doing better, I have another issue, another added medication, another setback. And to really think about it, I'm given a medication that my mother had to take religiously because of her heart conditions. I was shaken, and I needed to take some time. I had to really sit with this. It shook me to my core. It brought back a memory of when I was freshly diagnosed with anxiety and depression, and my doctor was trying to get me to take medications that I didn't want to. He said, your body can't take many anxiety attacks, and that your heart can't handle all of this stress. You have to find a way to deal with it, or you fall prone to heart issues such as heart disease and other issues, and you may not make it past your 55th birthday. At that time, I was 42 years old. Today, I'm 52. And at that time, I was thinking, I'm going to fight this. I'm strong. I'll be all right. I have the Lord on my side. I'll get my health under control, and I'm going to live a great life, right? And here I am at 52, having to take blood thinners, just like my mom, having yet another mental setback, and wondering if I'm ever going to recover from this. This hit me hard, right in the chest. It took the wind out of my sails and wounded me for a while. You, yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Buddha. As I began to take the medication, it made me more tired than before. So hubby and I were back to quick pickup meals from our favorite restaurants. My husband didn't mind. He just said, what do you want me to pick up for dinner? Are you moving your legs? Make sure you wear your compression socks and just keep moving as best you can. Boy, did this blood clot hurt. I was like, how is it that I didn't feel it until after I was diagnosed? It was just restless legs, and now it's painful. So as I rested, of course, my children were concerned. My daughter was on Google. I was like, oh gosh. So here it is. Now I feel the pain of your children being your parents, right? He said, Mom, while you're laying there, think of small ways to make changes into your daily routine. I was like, okay, baby girl, I hear you. And as I lay here, I'm going to think about ways that I can make changes to be here longer for y'all and for me, right? And as I was there, laying there, I thought about my mom. And I thought to myself that my mother was fighting cancer. She was fighting strokes, onset dementia, and she was still moving and grooving every day with a smile, praising the Lord every day. I can hear her saying to me, you're my child, and you can get through this. Rest for now. Heal yourself, baby. Pray to the Lord for strength. Shake yourself off and get back to living. Don't just lie there. You have so much to live for. Prove them wrong and fight. I remember her going to the treatments with a smile and thanking the Lord that she was receiving treatment. And I thank the Lord that I could too. I was thankful that my inability to breathe, thinking it was an anxiety attack, sent me to find this blood clot. I slowly got up and said, Lord, my word for this year is trust. There's a reason for this happening. Is in my wake-up call. that I need to do more for myself? What do I need to improve on or adjust in my well-being techniques? Was this a gentle reminder to say, hey, homegirl, you need to get back up to walking, get out into the fresh air again, and do all the things you said you would and fell off on? I believe so. This was a shaking up that was needed to remind me to always check in on me and to ask myself, are you doing beautiful? Are you okay today? That's when I took out my planner and got to planning. I started to think about meals for the week, which I hadn't done before. I began to make sure that not only am I taking my medication, but my supplements for the day as well. I'm slowly beginning to track my meals again and refocusing my attention on getting well. We are talking about retirement, but what's the use of that if I'm not here to enjoy it, right? Or have days of my grandshine. It was a reminder that I have a mighty group of women whom I call my prayer warriors. My other circle of trust was there for me and came through for the girl. In prayers and calls and just in love. God showed me that I have what I need. I just have to tap into it wholeheartedly and continue on, one day at a time, one trial at a time, one triumph at a time. Mindful moment. Emotional, mental, and physical setbacks come easily with mental wellness. Part of the worry with my family was that my movement has slowed down again, maybe aiding in my reasoning for getting the blood clot. Either way, this setback was huge for me. It literally almost set me down for a while. Emotionally, physically, and spiritually, this unintended pause was meant for me to take a picture of what I am not doing for myself again. I needed this gentle reminder to say, hey, girlie, I need you to come back to me. Let's reset. It's okay. You're going to be okay. But from here on, I need you to do a couple of things differently. And you know what? I heard what I needed to hear this time. Some setbacks in life are meant to shake us to our core and get us to pay better attention to the messages we are not getting, to show us what can be or will be, so we can make the necessary adjustments and pivot. So this is me pivoting, trying new techniques, holding myself accountable for the promises that I not only made to myself, but also to God. I needed the women's retreat and the diagnosis to knock the wind literally from me, to see how truly blessed I am to have health care, to have a praying sisterhood, and have a loving support system to get me through another setback, reminding me that I am my mother's child, and she is within me. I'm going to take the necessary step to continue to heal and continue on my wellness journey, continue to share my truths and hopes of it inspiring others to do the same for themselves. And remember that pausing isn't a bad thing. Take your setback, one day at a time, one trial at a time, one triumph at a time. Love you, girl. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. It really helps new listeners to find us and join our wellness community. Don't forget to stay connected with us across all our social platforms at Shannon D. Wellness. We've got plenty of exciting things in store, so be sure to join us on this journey towards wellness. Thank you for tuning in. Disclaimer: I am not a licensed mental health professional. The information provided here is for general informational purposes only and should not be considered a substitute for professional mental health advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you need help, please consult a qualified mental health professional.